Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that yesterday never actually disappeared. Not metaphorically, not emotionally, physically. What if every moment of your life still exists somewhere in reality? Every conversation, every mistake, every breath, still there, right now. And what if the thing you call the present moment is not moving through time at all? What if now is the illusion? Most people never question it. The past is gone, the future does not exist, and the present is all that is real. It feels obvious, it feels undeniable. But some of the deepest thinkers in science have spent decades staring into the foundations of reality and arriving at a conclusion so strange that it sounds like science fiction. Among them is Roger Penrose, a mathematician, a physicist, a man who helped uncover some of the most profound secrets hidden inside black holes and space-time itself. And according to ideas emerging from modern physics, the universe may not work the way your mind naturally assumes it does. Not even close. Because the more scientists studied time, the less they seem to understand what it actually is. And that raises a bigger question. What exactly is slipping away every second? When you look at an old photograph, something strange happens. You know the moment is gone. You know those seconds have vanished forever. Yet part of you feels they still exist somehow. A birthday from childhood, a face you've lost, a summer afternoon that ended years ago. The memory feels distant, but it doesn't feel unreal. Deep down, we carry an intuition that the past happened. Not merely that it happened once, but that it is somehow still part of reality. Yet everyday experience tells a different story. Time seems to flow. One moment arrives, another leaves. The future becomes the present becomes the past. Like water moving down a river. Simple, obvious, natural. But here's where it gets strange. No scientist has ever found this river. No experiment has ever detected the flow of time itself. Think about that. We measure clocks, we measure motion, we measure change. But the actual movement of now from one moment to the next, nobody has ever observed it. Not directly. For centuries, this didn't seem important. Time was simply time. Everyone understood what it was, or at least they thought they did. Then came a quiet revolution. A revolution that shattered humanity's picture of reality. And at the center of it stood a man who changed physics forever, Albert Einstein. Einstein looked at time differently. While everyone else treated it as a universal stage where events unfolded, he discovered something astonishing. Time was not separate from reality. Time was woven into reality itself, interlocked with space, bent by gravity, stretched by motion. Suddenly, time stopped being absolute. It became flexible, personal, dependent on where you are and how you move. And this was not philosophy. It was measurable, real. Astronauts age differently than people on Earth. Clocks tick at different speeds depending on gravity. The universe itself confirms it. But scientists soon realized that Einstein's equations contained an even stranger implication, one that made many physicists deeply uncomfortable. Because hidden inside those equations was a possibility that seemed to erase the present altogether. Imagine standing on a mountain. Below you stretches an enormous landscape. You can see rivers, forests, cities, roads. Everything exists simultaneously within your view. You are not watching the landscape create itself. You are simply seeing different locations at once. Now imagine reality itself works this way. Not just space, time too. Past, present, future, all existing together, like locations on a map. The year you were born, this very second, the final day of your life. Not appearing one after another, but existing as parts of a larger structure, a structure physicists call space-time. At first glance, this sounds impossible. After all, if the future already exists, why does it feel unknown? Why do we experience choice? Why do we feel time moving forward? Questions like these have haunted scientists for generations, and no one escaped them. Not Einstein, not Penrose, not the greatest minds who followed. Because the deeper they looked, the stranger reality became. But that is only half the story. You see, there is a hidden consequence buried inside this idea, a consequence most people never hear about. If the past still exists as a region of space-time, then your childhood has not vanished. If yesterday still occupies its own location in reality, then it is not gone. If every moment remains embedded within the structure of the universe, then what exactly are you moving through? Or perhaps the more disturbing question is this: what if you are not moving through time at all? The answer sounds impossible. Yet Roger Penrose believes the mystery goes even deeper, because when he examined the nature of consciousness itself, he found something that did not fit neatly into the standard picture. Something that may connect the human experience of now to one of the greatest unsolved problems in science. And if Penrose is right, the reason you feel trapped inside a moving present may reveal a secret about reality that changes everything. But before we can understand that possibility, we need to confront a discovery so unsettling that many physicists still argue about it today. A discovery that suggests the universe may already contain every moment of your life, including moments that, from your perspective, have not happened yet. The idea sounds absurd. How could tomorrow already exist if you have not lived it? How could a future conversation, a future decision, a future version of you be part of reality right now? Our instincts reject it immediately, and yet the mathematics does not care about our instincts. This is where the tension begins, because physics and experience seem to be telling completely different stories. Experience says reality unfolds. Physics suggests reality simply is. Imagine a film reel, not the movie playing on a screen, the reel itself. Every frame already exists. The beginning, the middle, the ending. The hero's birth, the hero's death. All of it is physically present on the strip. Yet when projected through a lens, the audience experiences motion, change, a story unfolding through time, frame by frame. Now ask yourself something unsettling. Is the movement actually inside the film, or is it created by the way the frames are being viewed? For many physicists, this analogy is dangerously close to how reality might work, not because the universe is literally a film reel, but because the flow we experience may not be fundamental. It may emerge from something deeper. And this is where everything changes. Because if the universe is a vast space-time structure, then every event occupies its own place within it. The first stars, ancient civilizations, your first memory, this very sentence, all woven into the same cosmic fabric. From that perspective, the past does not need to survive, because it never left. The future does not need to arrive, because it already occupies its own location. The entire tapestry simply exists forever. This picture is sometimes called the block universe, a universe where time is treated more like a dimension than a process, a universe where yesterday is as real as today, and tomorrow is just another region you have not experienced yet. But scientists found something even more disturbing. The block universe explains many things beautifully, yet it leaves behind one enormous mystery, the mystery of consciousness. After all, even if every moment exists, why are you experiencing this one? Why not your 10th birthday? Why not a random afternoon 20 years from now? Why this exact slice of reality? Why this particular now? The equations remain silent. They describe events. They describe relationships. But they never explain why awareness seems to illuminate one moment at a time. This bothered Roger Penrose deeply, because Penrose has never been satisfied with answers that merely push the mystery aside. Again and again throughout his career, he has looked for places where our understanding is incomplete, places where reality appears to be whispering that something important is missing. And nowhere was that whisper louder than in consciousness itself. You are aware. That fact sounds simple, yet it may be the strangest fact in existence. Atoms are not aware. Molecules are not aware. Galaxies are not aware. Somehow, arrangements of matter inside your brain produce an inner world. Colors, thoughts, memories, the feeling of being you. Science can describe neurons firing, electrical signals moving, information processing. But describing processes is not the same as explaining experience. The gap remains. A gap, Penrose believes, may point toward undiscovered physics. And that raises the bigger question. What if our experience of the present is not revealing the nature of time? What if it is revealing the nature of consciousness? Notice something. When you think about your past, you are not traveling there. The memory appears now. When you imagine the future, you are not visiting tomorrow. The imagination appears now. Your entire experience unfolds through awareness, not through direct access to space-time. In other words, perhaps the feeling of moving through time is less about the universe and more about the way consciousness encounters reality. That possibility changes the entire conversation, because suddenly the question is no longer, why does time flow? The question becomes, why does awareness experience events in sequence? And those are very different mysteries. Imagine reading a book. Every page already exists. Chapter 1 exists, Chapter 20 exists, the ending exists. Yet your experience unfolds line by line, page by page. The story feels like it is moving, but the movement comes from the reader, not the book. Now imagine applying that idea to reality itself. A terrifying possibility emerges. Perhaps the universe is the book, and consciousness is the reader. If so, the past remains where it always was. The future remains where it always will be. And what you call the present is simply the point where awareness happens to be focused. For a moment this seems to solve everything, but only for a moment, because a new mystery immediately appears, a bigger one. If awareness is moving through the pages, what is doing the moving? What mechanism creates the experience of progression? Why does one moment follow another? Why does consciousness seem to travel through a timeless structure? The answer remains unknown. And Penrose believes the solution may require ideas that modern physics has not yet discovered. ideas connected to quantum reality, ideas connected to the deepest architecture of the cosmos, ideas so strange that they challenge the foundations of both physics and philosophy. And hidden inside those ideas is a possibility almost impossible to comprehend. A possibility that transforms the meaning of life, death, memory, and existence itself. Because if your physical past still exists, if every moment remains embedded within reality, then perhaps the real mystery is not where the past went. Perhaps the real mystery is why you are experiencing this particular moment among the countless moments that already exist. And according to Penrose's most provocative thinking, the answer may force us to rethink not only time, but what consciousness actually is.